20 years ago, there were a small group of celebrities and then there was operators. Now, everybody has no friction to actually be a face.
Yeah.
You're one podcast away, you're one, vlog or streaming session away from like feeling it. And to your point, some people get so intoxicated with the attention, they lose their way. I watched a lot of, so many operators started building their own personal brands because of my content. And I've watched some of them get short-term success from it, but then completely lose their way because they think they're fucking Beyonce now when they're running a fucking pizza shop, And so people get high in their supply.
Especially in those first 15 minutes of it, like when you have that big first viral pop, but they don't realize how few people make it from 15 minutes to 3 hours in the space.
And now with the way that the social media algorithms work, which was, Vine was really the first time it kind of started that way. You were really one piece of content away from everything changing.
Yep.
Now people think, a single viral post means they're Logan, when in reality, to your point.
You gotta do that every day.
Getting it to your 30 minutes of fame, let alone your 15, let alone to your 3 years of fame is like an incredibly high, challenging framework, especially even just emotionally. Forget about if you're even good enough to know what the fuck to do on camera and all that. When you start dealing with that level of judgment, the amount of emotional strength you need to maintain, being out there with all the scrutiny, there's just so many people that are not mentally prepared for the heat, and that fucks them up, let alone the fact that the platforms continue to change. Back to Logan as the prompt, there were a lot of people in that group of the Vine 100.
The first wave.
That weren't able to transition to the next phase.
Long form,
branding. Podcast, there's, and again, I think what Logan represents, and I see in others, is a lot of people are just talent. Whereas other people are talent and have an entrepreneurial lens. And then there's even a rarer crew of talent, entrepreneurial lens, and then also operator.
Or plus athlete, which is another universal language as I travel the world that I find like it's just so globally spoken, is like, oh, you're partners with the fighter. They go like this. Maybe they can't even speak English. Wrestler, Logan, WWE, right? Like fighting is almost like mathematics.
It's also, yes.
It's just globally spoken.
I mean, it's Roman Empire. So it's the most basic thing. Like all of us can feel the fighting thing. But I also think the thing that Logan and Jake have done well between YouTube, and then if you look carefully, you look at Netflix, right? Netflix is global. Like when Raw is live, there are people watching it all over the world live, right? And I think that people underestimate the sheer amount of attention that these platforms have. And so when you're not limiting yourself in distribution, the places where he shows up are all three places are completely, utterly global. It's YouTube, it's podcasting, and then Netflix Live, whether it's a fight that Jake's doing or whether they're doing Raw, this is a level of distribution that people underestimate.
I think Jake just figured out a little hack in his merger with the PFL.
Yeah,
MVP MMA just merged with PFL to create this new fight league to try to rival the UFC, and their model of distribution has been on free platforms. I say free because you got a subscription, right? But assuming you have a subscription, which you probably do, it's Netflix. What are you gonna watch?
And we're in that era, right? The streaming services are doing that now, right? Obviously, UFC did the huge deal with Paramount, right? The sports are now on that. Like what cable did to network television, what network television did to the radio, streaming is now doing to cable. I'm fascinated by people's inability to understand that the world will always turn and there'll be new games. All that Netflix and Hulu and Paramount are doing is exactly what ESPN did to ABC and NBC.
Dude, I love the clips that you find from 15, 20 years ago of like a young Gary Vee sitting at a table screaming at the live stream watching. You're like, people aren't gonna read magazines anymore. Who reads a magazine here? Doing polls? You wearing the tie still?
No tie. Go look at the clips. You button downs. The button downs. I was buttoned down. Brother, you fucking worked. Bro, from the day I met you when you came to New York for the first time to this moment, you fucking worked.
Yeah, I've been working.
Bro, you fucking worked. Like these people that weaponize luck. Like I feel so horrible for people that weaponize the word luck. If you're weaponizing luck, you are very confused how the game is actually played.
Like, oh, he got lucky.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah, like physically, like people are, you are more conducive to be an athlete than others.
Yeah.
I get like there's things and there's serendipity and there's things, but bro, I've watched you for 15 fucking years work and adjust and change. 2 steps forward, 1 back, 7 forward.
Yeah.
You fucking work, bro. When you started doing the wrestling thing, I grew up massive wrestling. Macho Man Randy Savage is my favorite person that's ever lived the face of the earth. Like literally, like, when you started that, I was like, this is a wrap. He's going to crush. Because I knew you could do the mic because that's what you do.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, this kid's just gonna fucking spend 9 trillion hours until he can fucking do, frog jumps from the top rope backwards. And like, I just knew it.
It's so funny. You came on our podcast shortly after my WrestleMania debut, and we spoke about it. And now, fucking 5 years later, it's my full-time job.
One of my favorite things, just to keep this full press glaze fest I'm giving you.
Yeah, keep it going.
One of my favorite things ever was because I love the wrestling fan community so much because they're like the people downstairs, like all niche audiences, comic guys, wrestling guys, sports guys, anything new is like, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Right? And when you came in, they're like, fuck this influencer, right? And I'm like, this guy's gonna win these fuckers over. And I remember you pulled some move early on.
It was the ricochet, the middle of the meeting in the
And
ricochet.
I was just like, the second I saw it, I went right to Twitter and I watched all these fucking people that fucking hated you. They're like, man, he's all right.
Hey there, Impulsive viewer. If you like that clip, check out another one just somewhere around this video screen.